Back with the WMAY morning news feed. I'm Greg Bishop. Thanks for hanging out as always at 8:11 now, and it's time for you to sound off at 217-629-7970. One thing that I've been looking at for, over a decade now, if not longer, is technology that law enforcement are implementing to track people or to try to get better leads when investigating crimes. And one of the things that's popped up in the past decade or more is camera technology that's able to pinpoint license plates from a distance at high rates of speed and put all those through a computer calculation. And it's pretty incredible how all of this has really advanced in the past 10 years. And listen, when I say I've been looking at this for 10 years, I'm not messing around, because 10 years ago, I saw a couple of cameras on the back of the Springfield police vehicle that you can actually go and look at WMAY's YouTube channel from back then, and you can see this for yourself. It's pretty incredible, but I do want to share with you a little bit of the conversation I had back 10 years ago with then Springfield Police Department Patrol Officer Chris Stout about the technology that they were testing back then. Check this out.
Some people recognize it. Some people recognize it for license plate recognition. Other people are thinking it's some type of radar. It's some type of radar. It's another type of just camera system for recording everything. And everybody's curious. Everybody stares at stoplights. A lot of people have asked me. A lot of people have asked me about it since they started using it. It scans. I average about between 1,500 and 2,000 license plates a day. It's detected. Over 100 that are on the boot list. Again, all of those I wasn't able to boot because they might have been on private property, or they were actually out driving. As it stands now, we can't pull somebody over to boot their car. They go on about their way. The first probably 2 weeks in the downtown area, I was really finding a lot. There were a lot of unpaid parking tickets, and it was nothing to cruise down the street and the alarm would go off. It brings up. This screen pops up and it makes an obnoxious noise.
And something a bit different here. And in particular, they're looking at some license plate reading technology that does a few things different here by just being stationary instead of actually being, fully on a vehicle and traveling around town and grabbing up things. So here is Dan Murdoch. He is a sales manager with Flock Safety, sharing some of his sales pitch to Springfield aldermen last week when it comes to the license plate reading technology they're looking to spend $5,000 per camera on. So here's some of last week's Springfield City Council meeting.
What Flock did was basically built a glorified trail camera. So the way these guys work is anytime something moves, it takes a bunch of pictures. Then machine learning runs over the top of it to identify the make, color, and type of vehicle. So as well as the license plate. So if there's a shooting or a robbery or something like that, and you have a witness who says, I saw a red F-150 driving away from the scene, your law enforcement will be able to go back to the cameras in the area and search for all the red Ford trucks and work backwards to the license plate. So that's really the big jump forward here in technology that we're talking about, is being able to identify by the vehicle.
So that's, again, some of the sales pitch. I want to hear from you as a taxpayer, as somebody out there on the streets every day. What do you think about this? 217-629-7970. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Good morning, Greg. Can you hear me okay?
I can. What's up?
All right, so I know a repo company around here, and I've seen them around in different places where they've got basically the same technology as you were speaking of, the license plate reader on the squad car. And my buddy actually works for one of them. And it's the equivalent of fishing with dynamite. That's how they're able to find the cars that are out for repo, because no matter where you are in town, let's say a month ago your car was current or close to current before they come to get it, and then they find out, well, it's been seen on this side of town or located in this block of this street. Well, when your car comes up for repo in the future, they know where to go look for your car at. Now, this is very dangerous because these repo trucks, they're just scanning every plate, even if your car's paid off. But then let's say you go to a title loan place, and a year from now, it goes into default. they're able to find your car. Now, let that get into the wrong hands and Big Brother wants to step in and let's say, oh, well, you haven't had this particular vaccine or this, that, or the other. It's one of those things where it's infringing on our rights. And while I understand it helps to squelch the crime or at least come back and find out who did it, it's going to eventually be used for the wrong purposes. So where do you draw the line to say this is a little bit too far? Because I definitely don't want murderers to get away with crime, but at the same time, I don't want my rights infringed upon that way.
I appreciate the call, and we may hear different opinions, but I think your interesting analogy there, fishing with dynamite, that's kind of that's kind of fascinating. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Hi, good morning, Greg. I did not really care about any of this stuff until I started listening to your Saturday afternoon show.
Oh my gosh, that was like 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening all this time.
And I have to say, I am opposed to this technology by the city of Springfield. It's like that. If private companies want to do it, whatever.
Well, private companies are already doing it, and that's something that the sales rep last week highlighted is more than half of their business is with big box retailers. They just installed stuff at Rivers Casino up in Des Plaines.
And we can't stop that. But I do not want the city of Springfield to get into this. Or the county,
Yeah, I appreciate the call, and the city's going to be taking it up tomorrow at their city council meeting. So if you've got feelings on this, I definitely think you should reach out to Springfield Alderman. 217-629-7970 is the phone number here, and we're talking about license plate reading technology. It's already out there, right? I shared with you earlier, 10 years ago, I did a ride-along with a Springfield police officer that was testing out license plate reading cameras attached to their squad car. Well, now they're talking about getting static license plate reading cameras at a cost of $5,000 each, installed throughout the city, 80 plus different cameras, and they're saying it's going to help with being able to investigate crimes. If there's a shot somewhere, they'll be able to catalog all the license plates coming in and out of that area at that specific time, and they'll be able to have some leads that way. But does that come at the cost of your privacy? Because these cameras can also be used to kind of track where you're at, what you do with your day and whatnot. But some argue that, hey, you're out in public, and that's just what happens out in public. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Greg, remember the Patriot Act, our old friend Dick Cheney and the Patriot Act?
Yep.
They haven't scaled that back at all, have they?
Oh, God, no.
They've strengthened it, haven't they? So,
and it seems to be getting into different aspects of our lives, including health care.
For all in the name of safety, Greg.
Right.
Safety.
It's all.
Once you give them a bit, they're going to take it all. Thanks, Greg.
I appreciate the call. 217-629-7970 is the phone number. And I don't know if there's ways to combat this. One thing that Springfield Alderman Ralph Hanauer raised last week was he wants to make sure that directors or city aldermen can't access this information. So they want to try to put something in city code to prohibit that. That's, I think, an interesting protection mechanism. But what about statewide? We do have laws in place statewide that says, like, for instance, Facebook can't capture your face without your permission. Can people opt out of this? The system allows for that, but what if it's being used for law enforcement? Again, Springfield Alderman going to take this up tomorrow. Your thoughts? Good morning on license plate reading cameras. What's up?
Hey, honestly, I'm not really big on anybody. If I'm not doing anything wrong, nobody should be over here tracking me or doing anything else. As it is now.
But sir, if you're not doing anything wrong, what do you have to worry about?
Well, you know what? There was a president who said that before he got elected in about the Patriot bill. Then he changed his mind once he got in. Donald Trump once said that if you're not doing anything wrong, you shouldn't be worried. And then after that, he said there were conspiracy theories. And I'm not a fan of the guy, but I mean, honestly, you have police officers already in that, and I've had friends who were police officers and families who already use a bit where they look up people as favors, even though it's not supposed to on the.
Or they'll look up, romantic interests or things like that.
Right.
And that stuff's abuse of the system, and people should be held responsible for that. Absolutely.
And they aren't. I mean, honestly, the amount of abuse by anybody who has authority is very rarely ever enforced. I mean, whether it's our doctors, whether it's our attorneys, this is something that's not going to be enforced. It shouldn't be in the hands of, and I Googled what your one caller said, the whole license plate scanning thing in California, apparently in some other states, is in the hands of repo men and stuff.
Oh,
and
sure.
honestly,
I don't doubt that at all. Yeah.
A lot of these guys are ex-cons themselves who end up working for some of these tow companies because it's a job that doesn't require a huge background check. So, and who else knows how to break into cars quicker? I mean, honestly, they need to have a lot of this stuff. Take it the heck out of the hands of the police. Take it out of the hands of private people. And you know what? If there's someone who's doing something criminal, they can get off their what is it we used to call it in the military, third point of contact, and go out and do the actual work. I've had criminal justice classes that were taught by retired sheriffs and things like this. And there's a reason that in some states you have families paying to have investigations continue. They don't do the work. I mean, if you look this morning, just in my news feed, and I didn't even look for this stuff, there's different things where people are complaining. They caught it on TikTok of cops just standing there while they get attacked. I mean,
yeah, and listen, I don't want to veer too much into other avenues here and just focus on the license plate reading camera technology, but I appreciate your thoughts on some of this. And listen, the technology's there. How do we best combat any potential abuse, I think, is the question here now. Good morning. You're on WMAY. What do you think? Should Springfield aldermen go ahead and sign on to this contract with Flock Safety? Good morning.
Morning, Greg. How you doing?
Good. Yourself?
Hey, not bad. Hey, I don't have a problem with it. I really don't. But here's something I don't think most people know. If you are parked in a parking lot at an airport in St. Louis, Chicago, I know Peoria, but I'm not sure about Bloomington. But any of those parking places at any of those airports, your license plate is already scanned.
Right.
Because they scan it, and if you owe any money on it or anything like that, they will boot your car. I've seen them boot them right there at O'Hara Airport. You'll see cars booted, and there's no way you're going to get your car back. And they do that constantly. I see them traveling through there every time up at the airport.
Yeah, it's already happening. It's already being implemented. It's proliferating across the state.
And like I said, if you haven't done anything wrong, I don't think I'd worry about it. The thing that would bother me, though.
But hold on, Tim, is that how we want to, live? Is the constant mantra? Well, if you didn't do anything wrong, you don't have anything to worry about. Shouldn't we flip that around? You shouldn't have anything to worry about if you've done nothing wrong, right? I mean.
Well, what about if they owe money? I mean, isn't that my money that they're taking from me?
Then send the bill in the mail and send a summons to court. Go through that process. Listen, I appreciate the call. I got full phone lines, Tim. Gonna just try to get through as many as I can before the break. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Good morning. I'm against it. I think it's a prelude to eye scanners for groceries.
Oh, man. Whew. Or microchips, as is being implemented apparently in Sweden. The Swedish are apparently putting microchips into themselves so they can have their COVID-19 vaccine data carried around with them. That's Newsweek. That's not me just making it up. All right. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Question: does the federal government already use this, like FBI and so forth?
I would imagine that they, have. I don't have like the contract data in front of me, but I would imagine law enforcement of all stripes are utilizing this technology.
So I mean, I guess my point is, if every law enforcement agency above the city of Springfield is using it, I mean, what's it matter? I mean, it's already there. I mean,
and that was one thing, and that was one thing that Flock Safety last week told Springfield aldermen. They said, "Listen, this is being put in Decatur, Peoria, Bloomington Normal, Joliet, and so on, and they can all share it. They can all share the data."
Right, but I'm not talking about other agents. I'm talking about like the people above Springfield, meaning like the FBI, all those state police things, whatever the case may be. If a crime happens in Springfield, they're going to come in and use that technology. Are we saying now that we're going to say, no, we don't want it in Springfield? That means the FBI can't come in and use their own technology? You see what I'm saying?
Sure. No, I understand.
So how's that work?
Yeah, and it works a certain way to be able to catalog all these license plates and to be able to then pinpoint where they've been in particular places. If the plate's been captured at, say, a restaurant there, and then all of a sudden they're captured at, Best Buy another day, and then they're captured at an abortion clinic another day. You can get a pretty interesting dossier on an individual just based off a license plate and where it's at. So that's some of the interesting things there. Texts coming in here. Let me see. A message says, why is it called license plate reading? It's a camera, so it's a picture, not a text. So that confuses me. It's called license plate reading just because LPRs, license plate reading cameras, because what it does is it uses a reflection of the license plate to get the camera to trigger the numbers, and then those numbers are automatically digitized and put into a computer system. But that's just the way what it's called. Let me see here. They only go after people who have money, not the broke criminals. Well, I don't know about that. Real quick, got a couple of more calls. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Good morning, Greg.
Hey.
Yeah, I'll say I believe that there's a good use for this, but with all of these type of surveillance things and all of the even laws that go on the books, someone mentioned the Patriot Act. They start out good, but once they're in place, they can escalate into something tyrannical. Look at what they're doing in Australia right now to the civilians over the vaccine mandate. So this is a power that can be abused, and more than likely it will be eventually.
Yeah, and we need to have certain policies in place to prevent any type of abuse. So we'll see how they handle that question with the Springfield City Council when they meet tomorrow night. Good morning. You're on WMAY. Last call.
Morning, Greg. Hey, so if they catch me going into Best Buy or, around Best Buy or whatever, are they going to send me coupons or whatever? I mean, because I was thinking about it, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I mean, or like County Market.
Best Buy has
like
seen that you've been at their store 5 different times, and they're willing to give you the 6th one for free.
Exactly. I mean, and then the other thing is, like you were saying, they can get a dossier on you or whatever. So my brother-in-law is coming into town, and he's completely different than I am. So I'm going to give him my car for about a week and a half just to throw him off.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Well, one thing that I've already seen commented elsewhere, and I appreciate the call on that, is, if a criminal knows that they have license plate reading cameras up, they might just take their license plate off. But the cameras do capture the type of vehicle it is, the color of vehicle it is as well. So there's other indicators there. All right, great time. I appreciate everybody's chiming in on this, and we'll, of course, keep you posted on what happens with the Springfield City Council. It is the WMAY Morning News.